to just relax. And why not walk through? Walk through and go to Kensington Palace and have a look. But this area to your left is still used for venues. This is the venue. It's not just a park, but we use it for concerts on the left. We use it for protests. You know, in 1851, a very, very important exhibition took place in this park to your left. It was called the Great Exhibition. The Great Exhibition ran from May to October in 1851. 6 million visitors came to see that great exhibition that took place here on your left. For this great exhibition, they actually assembled the Crystal Palace. It was an exhibition to celebrate the trade, the engineering, the arts, the industry of the British Empire. And the mastermind behind it was Prince Albert. And with those profits that he got from this exhibition, he opened up that complex of museums down in Kensington. Victoria and Albert, natural history, and the science. So, the next stop is straight up ahead of you. This is Marble Arch, everyone. Does anyone need Marble Arch? Okay, Andy, we do have some people coming down from upstairs. So this is the stop for Marble Arch and Oxford Street. Bye bye, take care now, be careful as you go down. You're welcome, bye bye now, have a nice evening, stay dry. Okay, if you're sat downstairs, I can tell you that I now have 7 covered seats available. 7 covered seats available upstairs if you want to come up, and many, many uncovered. The choice is yours. It's not that cold up here, really. Might as well come up.
We get a little bit eccentric and it's fun.
Okay, ahead of you is Marble Arch, giving the name to this area. That arch in front of you, hello, is made of marble from the Italian town of Carrara in northwestern Italy. That marble arch in front of you was once in front of Buckingham Palace when Queen Victoria was on the throne. But there was a little problem. She said, hello everyone, come up. We've got a few available here. Queen Victoria said she could not fit her carriage through that central arch of Marble Arch. I'm not sure about that. I just think she didn't like it. But in any case, she had it moved here. She was queen after all. On your right, we have a horse's head. That horse's head on your right is by Nick Fidian Green. It's of the horse drinking the water. In fact, it's called still water. Look at those beautiful fountains lit up there on the right. So remember, this is the Marble Arch area. Now, this area where we are now, which is very pretty, a very pretty area, has a very, very dark history. This was the area of the Tyburn Gallows. In the 1700s, in a space of 700 years, 50 to 60,000 people were hung in this area. They were prisoners, they were criminals. The last public hanging in this area took place in 1783. Sorry, I get quite excited when I'm telling the stories. If the volume of my voice is going up, I apologise, I'll bring it down a little bit.
Are you okay, Matty?
Is it very loud upstairs? Am I deafening you? Am I deafening you? Alright, I'll keep it down. Okay, so ahead of you is Oxford Street. Shopper's Paradise, where you can buy everything and anything to suit any budget whatsoever. Oxford Street ahead of you is also the location of one of our oldest department stores. Selfridges, everyone. Selfridges is down that street in front of you on the left. And we ladies, we love to go to Selfridges. Do you know why? Because there's one entire floor in Selfridges dedicated to ladies' shoes. One whole floor of shoes. Men don't go in. For your own sanity, I beg you, don't go to that floor. Stay in the cafe. next stop. But for you gentlemen, I have a treat for you. Anyone who likes their cars, coming up on your left is a very nice car showroom with some very impressive Bentley cars. And this is just the first of of when Great Britain joined World War I. It was 100 years this year. When the last ceramic poppy has been placed in November, there will be roughly 888,000 ceramic poppies, each one to represent a British fatality. But honestly, if you do come to this museum, you know, you will enjoy it. If you do come to this museum, try and go on one of the tours, they're free, that are led by the Yeoman Warders, the Beefeaters. They do fantastic tours of the inside, and they know everything. They even live here, so it's better than them you can't get. Where we have our civil cases, and those very high profile celebrity cases, such as Paul McCartney's divorce, was settled here on your left. Now, Fleet Street, where we are now, is a street of many different architectural styles. Tudor, Renaissance, Art Deco, Medieval, Baroque. London is an open-air museum. Absolutely is. You don't need to go inside to see the history that is all around you. Ahead of you, there is a black dragon. A black dragon waiting on the top of the Templar monument ahead of you. Now that black dragon is there to represent our official exit from this city of Westminster, where we are now, and our official entrance into the City of London, where we will be very shortly. So that column just in front of you to your right, that is the official marker dividing the two cities. It's that easy to cross from one city to another. Now this is Fleet Street. Fleet Street is where we once had the centre of the press industry up until the 1980s. It was here that they printed London's first daily newspaper called the Daily Courant at the beginning of the 1700s. This street, Fleet Street, was once lined with many newspaper offices, press offices, printing offices. They have now been replaced with banks. We have a very high concentration of banks in this street and pubs. Pubs and banks, banks and pubs. First you go to the bank, and if your bank manager gives you some bad news, you then go to the pub. Or maybe you go to the pub before. But in any case, you go to the pub. There are about 15 pubs along this one street alone. Now, that press industry is no longer here. But the history of the press industry is, to your left, you have the old offices of the Dundee Courier on your left. You see it's written on the wall to your left there. The street to your left, Fetter Lane, is now very famous for all the solicitor offices down there, because remember, we are very close to the courts. And talking of pubs, I'm going to show you one of the oldest pubs in London. It's coming up, it's ahead of you, it's on your left. There is a white lantern outside it with black writing on your left. Look on your left now. Can you see that white lantern? That pub is called the Ye Old Cheshire Cheese on your left. Look left now. And this is where writers like Charles Dickens went, Samuel Johnson, the author of the first comprehensive dictionary. And it's still a pub. You can still go there for a drink. It's like stepping back in time. There's still hay on the floor. Our next stop is ahead of us. Our next stop is for St. Paul's Cathedral. Obviously the cathedral is closed at this time, but this is a nice area to go around as well. There are lots of restaurants in this area. Okay, so this is St. Paul's. The next stop is for St. Paul's Cathedral and its area and the Millennium Bridge. Now, I suggest, if you want to go to the Tate Modern, to that area, because there are some restaurants there, if you need to go to the side of the Tate Modern, then you do need to get off at the next stop and take the Millennium Bridge, because this evening with this particular tour, we won't be going over Southwark Bridge. So we're not going over the bridge to go to the area of Tate Modern and the Globe. So if you want to go to that area this evening, then you need to get off at the next stop and take the Millennium Bridge. So I can already see ahead of us the beautiful, the iconic, the amazing St. Paul's Cathedral. The masterpiece of classical architecture by its designer, Christopher Wren. Does anyone need to get off at the next stop? For St. Paul's Cathedral, Millennium Bridge, Tate Modern, Globe? No? Okay. And you know what? This is an absolutely amazing cathedral. Everyone, that is St. Paul's Cathedral in front of you. This is typical Baroque architecture. On the outside of the church. And it was here, 1981. And Lady Diana were married in this cathedral to your left. Queen in front, it's Queen Anne. dome that is on the top of St. Paul's Cathedral to your left there is the second largest dome in the world after St. Peter's in Rome. Now this is a beautiful cathedral to go around. I mean, let's look back at it as we go past because it's just too beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It seems so beautiful that it's not real. If you get the opportunity to go round this cathedral, you should. There is an admission to pay. It's £15 for adults. Concessions also are available. But it's just as beautiful inside as it is outside. And if you want to look back, you can, because this is one of those moments when it's worth looking back. Now, St. Paul's Cathedral was actually built to replace the one that was destroyed in the Great Fire of London that happened in this area in September 1666. In fact, Christopher Wren was a big part in the rebuilding. He played a very big role in the rebuilding of the City of London following that terrible fire. After he built St. Paul's Cathedral, he built 51 other churches in this area. Now we're going to leave St. Paul's Cathedral behind us. We're going to head further and further into original London, into the City of London, into the financial district of London, into Old London. Remember, the Romans, they invaded and they settled in 43 AD. And they settled in this area. This area is the oldest area of London. The City of London is 2,000 years old, everyone. 2,000 years old. This building coming up on your right is Bracken House. It's where we once had the original offices of the Financial Times newspaper. Our Financial Times newspaper is our pink paper. Okay, can you hear me still upstairs? Yes. Okay, wonderful. Can you hear me downstairs? Yes. So we are in original London, everybody. Now, I don't know if you realise this, but the City of London and the City of Westminster, they are very, very separate. Each city has its own police force. Each city has its own fire brigade. Each city has its own person in charge. In the City of Westminster, you have the Mayor of London, Boris Johnson. In the City of London here, we have the Lord Mayor, elected every year. We currently have a female our Lord Mayor, and her name is Fiona Wolf. And also, if you ever look at the street names, you will see that there is always written what city it is. You will always either see the City of London or the City of Westminster, so you will never feel lost. You always know which city you're in. But I have to say that sadly, the city we're in at the moment has a very tragic history. This area is where we had that terrible Great Fire. It happened in September 1666. It started Thomas Fariner. He just didn't extinguish his cinders properly. That meant disaster in London of the 1600s that was mostly made of wood. Only 6 people died, luckily. We have erected the column coming up on your left. Everyone, look left now, look left. Left, 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 left. That is a monument column for the 6 victims of the Great Fire of London. Okay, this is a stop just before we go over London Bridge. This is not the bridge that opens in the middle. You're welcome. Bye-bye, everyone. So the bridge we're about to go over is London Bridge, and then we will also go over Tower Bridge. Tower Bridge is the one that opens. In fact, when you look to your left, you can see Tower Bridge. Look left now. Now, Tower Bridge, in front of you to your left, or to your left, is part suspension, part drawbridge. But everyone, this is London Bridge. We are on London Bridge. This is the area where the Romans built the first bridge over the River Thames. The first bridge was made of wood. The first stone bridge dated back to the beginning of the 1200s. That first stone bridge stood there for 600 years before it was replaced. Now, to our right, above us, we may not be able to see it at the moment, but there is the Shard. The tallest building in London. It's made of glass. It looks like a pyramid. And if you want to go up the Shard, this next stop is for that there. Does anyone want to get up here? This is Tooley Street. If you can't see the Shard at the moment, please don't worry. We will see it many, many more times still. Anyone coming down? No? I don't think so. Now everyone, this is Tooley Street. Every area of London has its own history to it. This is the area of the old refrigerated warehouses, the wharves. You know, ships used to dock here, goods were unloaded, sailors went to the pub on the right there, at the end of a very hard day. This was the main pool of London, the main bustling port of London. Now we have our next stop here. Our next stop is the last stop before we go over Tower Bridge, and then there is one immediately after. Now if you want to walk over Tower Bridge, this is a stop for you. If you want to go over over it in a nice warm bus. Stay with me. Okay, I think everyone wants to stay with us, I think. Now get those cameras out, because soon you will see one of the most spectacular sights of London, Tower Bridge. Okay everyone, get ready to see Tower Bridge. They finished building it in 1894. It took 8 years to build. 1894. It's okay. And Queen Victoria, she came for the opening. Inside we have one of the finest examples of Victorian engineering. In order for this to open up in the past, it worked on a system of hydraulics. Nowadays, it's a lot easier. They just press a button to make it open. This bridge, when it was a busy port, used to open up at least 5 times every day. It now opens up 500 times a year. Everyone, look to your left. You have the tallest building in London with just this tip lit up to your left. That is the Shard. 95 stories high, that is. And look at that contrast that you have in front of you to your left. The skyscrapers mixed there with our castle. This castle on your left, this is the Tower of London. You know, this castle here, which is now a museum, was originally built by William the Conqueror in 1078 to protect and impress, because whoever had control of this castle had control of the kingdom. It's a brilliant, absolutely fantastic museum to visit nowadays. And you can go and see the crown jewels. Inside the moat we have those famous ceramic poppies. Now, the poppies that are in the moat are ceramic poppies. They're inside the moat. This year they're there because this year marks the centenary